Okay. So I want you to just tell me about a near-death experience that you had, and if you can, explain in detail every moment that led up to the point in which you were aware that you were dying.
Well, it was in 1979, and I went up by the Metropolitan Museum of Art for my abortion. I had to have an abortion. In those days, people were getting abortions. They weren't pro-life or anything like that. And I wasn't put to sleep. And they use this vacuum cleaner. They vacuum out the baby. These two women were vacuuming, and it was so painful. At a certain point, my chest locked. I heard my chest lock. It was like a snap, and I turned blue, and they didn't see that I had turned blue. And as I turned blue and stopped breathing for a long time, my spirit, it was like an alien in outer space, watching a spaceship go by from an airplane, the way that they see these flying objects. My spirit was I was very, very impressed that my spirit was on the ceiling, and it was in the corner of the room, and there was this exaltation that I felt. It was this feeling of being ecstatic, joyfulness, laughing, smiling kind of thing. And at that point, I heard them say, "She's turned blue," and then they gave me smelling salts, and I was like the genie going into the bottle. I just sucked up into my body my spirit, and there I was again. And then I was again in agony and pain, and afterwards I had seizure. You have the shaking seizure. That's what happened.
And do you remember what you were thinking when you saw your body just lying on the table?
I was impressed. I was shocked at the speed. I really didn't care about looking at my body on the table. I really was. I wanted to go with the baby. It was a situation where I was dumped by a much older man and told that if I had an abortion that he would stay with me, and he didn't, and then he proceeded to completely dump me, and I ended up being pregnant for the second time, and so I was exhausted, and at that point I really just wanted to go with the baby, and just go to wherever the baby was going.
And how do you feel after this experience? What is your opinion on the spiritual world, or the second realm? Some people refer to it as the next dimension of life, or
I completely believe that, I don't think we remember, our previous lifetimes, but there's a storyline, there's a mystery. It's like a mystery novel we're working through, and the karma, the experiences that we're having if we have a dramatic lifetime. I mean, we can go through probably 5 or 6 lifetimes which are just, we're just comforted and everything is fine and we just don't remember what happened. But then you have a lifetime where you're still attached to that person who you were in a previous lifetime, that body and that mystery.
Is that how you feel right now?
Yeah.
During this lifetime that you had us? What life do you feel you once had? What memories come to you?
Oh, well, as I came out of my mother's womb, I thought she was my girlfriend, and I was a guy, and she was like, to me, she was she was my girl. I was still a guy, but she just told me to go, can I curse? Go fuck myself. And she wasn't interested in me one bit. And she was on the completely opposite end of the spectrum in terms of her. She was very, very kind of cold-blooded and opportunistic, and she just wanted to she needed to survive, and that was it. And she wasn't a romantic, and she wasn't spiritual. She didn't believe in God. She didn't believe in reincarnation. She just was really young. She was only 23, and she was like a high-maintenance piece of work. So, but I came through. I remember coming through because I was many lifetimes before that had been that guy, and that was an important lifetime for me.
What do you remember much about this guy?
Yeah, because he actually was crippled, and he was taken care of by somebody who was another piece of work, who was another really arrogant, malicious, beautiful rebel. And he was a bad caregiver, but at the same time, I had a lot of resources, because during that time, there was a huge amount of stuff going on around me, and there was also the church, which was like my parents, but I never saw anybody, I just felt it. But I was also very opportunistic. I was very materialistic. I like to look at wealth. I like to see social things, parties, romantic things, beautiful things. And then before that, I remember my lifetime, and I remember my mother.
Your mother from that lifetime?
Yeah, and that mother was the like polar opposite to the mother that I had this time. She was a normal mother. She cared about me, and she worried about me, and I was murdered, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what had happened, and I misunderstood it. I didn't know what the mystery was. So all these lifetimes, for hundreds and hundreds of years, I've been going through trying to figure out a mystery. It's a mystery novel, and I've also all of these different historical periods are like part of the novel. They're part of the
they're just different chapters,
but they're
in one entire novel.
Yeah, but it's like a space odyssey, because I don't really feel attached, and I'm taken advantage of by my own naivete in these situations, because I don't really want to be in that particular time in history to deal with that particular issue.
Does your husband have a similar outlook on the soul or the spirit? How does he feel about that kind of thing?
He's just going through what I was going through when I was the guy. He's obsessed. He can't stop ranting and raving, and that's what this guy was like. He was at this stage where he just was like talking to himself constantly. And that's the kind of this on one level, and I'm not belittling what he's going through in terms of the multi-levels that he's going through, because I don't even understand where he came from and all the different things he's gone through and why he's doing, what his story is. But it's just on a caregiving level, it's very similar.
What could you say about the most recent near-death experience that you had last year, when you had an intestinal obstruction, and you, going through all of that pain, I'm sure that your mind had gone elsewhere, that you may have been preparing for death. You may have been
Yeah.
mentally preparing to let go of everything.
Well, it was completely like a deep sleep that I felt,
that you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready for a deep, I didn't remember the dog, I didn't remember things that I ordinarily was attached to. I wouldn't even remember, and even at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you came to visit me, and I really appreciated that. But as far as like, I called my father, but it was such a disconnect that it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you were only thinking about what was going to happen.
I just was completely quiet, and I just wanted to, blank out it deeply,
Because you were in so much pain.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. You just wanted to get away from it, right?
Yeah.
I think that we could say that that's what a lot of people go through when they're in that much pain.
Yeah, but I didn't even remember my relationship. I didn't remember the dog when I came home, and he's like my main companion. I didn't even recognize him, basically. He recognized me, and he through him, he returned me back to my day-to-day life.
Do you think that your dreams reflect a big part of how you feel about things? Or do you think that they are just random, arbitrary instances that just happen to occur when you close your eyes?
I'm not really that into virtual reality, into my dreams yet. I'm just basically trying to work out my own, inability to relax, because I'm so nervous that I have trouble, even for 10 minutes, just giving myself a break.
Yeah. What's one aspiration you have for the next 10 years of your life?
Just walking. I feel like walking a lot, and learning how to use my legs again from these previous lifetimes of being crippled, and the loneliness of a long distance runner. I'm enjoying my legs.
Do you have anything to say to your mother?
Yeah, I want my mother to do well in her upcoming, when she goes into someone's womb. And according to the Tibetan Buddhists, tomorrow is her day where she'll enter into, it's 42 days since her death, and she should be entering into someone's, womb, and her spirit should have to go through a whole pregnancy for 9 months. And then that she gets reborn in a safe, country, and that she doesn't become a ghost and come, trying to get back with her husband, Wayne, and, just being the ghost of Cornwall and Hudson.
Do you have anything to say to your husband?
No, I take care of him. I try to take care of him because I feel sorry for him, and he reminds me of how I was, only he's even a bazillion times more charming and beautiful. My environment was like, it wasn't about the body, it was about the time in which I lived, which was during the time of Louis XIV, and the forest, around his house, and the church then, and all of the vibes of that period. It wasn't about me, and my caregiver was very attractive, but he was a nasty sort of man, country person who was better than me because he was healthy, and I didn't really pay attention to him too much. I don't know what he did to me, if he, ditched my wheelchair over. Who knows what the hell he did, but...
Do you think that he murdered you?
No, I don't think he was the one. I think that my big time murder, I think I died of my illness, but maybe he didn't help too much, but that didn't matter. But my big time murder was as this ballet dancer during the time of Louis XIV. He was a very big ballet fan, and he invented ballet, and that was because I was in the wrong ballet troupe. It was a revolutionary troupe that was an anti-royal troupe, and it was making fun of the king, and some minister or somebody scapegoated me, and I don't know who it was. It was it was like a token murder. I was stabbed.
Where?
All over. I mean, I just died.
When you met Ethan, did you feel that you had met him in a past life?
No.
Do you want to be cremated or buried?
At this point, I don't really care. Not after my mother was cremated, because I don't really care. It's dust to dust, and
so it'll be up to me.
Yeah, it's just whichever is. They give you a allowance to.
Is there a third option?
No.
There's never a third option.
Well, there is for people who have family burial sites, but we don't.
Well.
And anyway, I don't really want to necessarily be attached to my family.
Yeah. If you could have been one other thing besides a critic or a painter, what would it have been?
I'd love to have been a general, I'd love to have studied, and gone to West Point in the military.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, thank you very much for the interview.